Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming back to the Citrine Path. Today, again, we have myself, Amber, and my amazing co-host.
And I'm Patsy from Violet Elements. Before we get started here, we just want to share real quick that this is our journeys and our guest journey on their spiritual life and their herbal life. So, everything we talk about here, we do recommend you do your own research and definitely talk to your provider before you start any herbal remedies or home remedies.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our first episode of our new podcast. So, this podcast, we're aiming to be able to better educate people and use what Mother Nature gives us to give us a better quality of our life. What's one
Okay.
thing that you want to do for this podcast?
Well, being part of this podcast, one of my goals is to hear other people's journey and what they have overcome and gone through. I think it's always interesting seeing things from somebody else's point of view and taking lessons from there.
I like it. Some of the topics that we're going to cover, hopefully, during this podcast is sound bowl therapy, oils and aromatherapy, herbalism, of course. Is there any other things that you want to talk about at one point in time?
Um, I don't know. That's a good question. I think it would always be fun to share ideas of how to keep your body in motion, because I know everybody is stressful
Hmm.
and life is stressful. So hopefully we find some good techniques and tips that we could share along the way to help maybe people reduce some of that stress.
No, I think that's a cool idea. That's a super cool idea.
Okay, Amber, I got some questions for you. So how long ago did you start your business, Citrine Enlightenment? I know that has inspired a lot of what you've done and the growth personally, and which led to this podcast. So, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Oh, goodness. So I started Citrine Enlightenment uh, this December, or this Christmas Eve is actually 4 years ago. Um, and it originally started when I was making Christmas presents for my family with smudge sticks. And then it kind of started from smudge sticks and learning the benefits from them. And then it blossomed into learning more about the herbs themselves in the smudge sticks to tea and tinctures and salves, and then ended up to where we are today.
Wow, so that's so cool. Um, and by the way, the smudge sticks for Christmas was amazing.
Was what?
So, where was amazing. So, what got you inspired to name it Citrine Enlightenment?
So, um, some of you guys might have seen on Facebook and stuff that I call my daughter Citrine, and that is actually her middle name. And so when I started this, I wanted to use her as really a big motivation to figure out a new way of helping our bodies feel better, and not have as many side effects. So that's why I started with smudge sticks because I knew that using the smoke from the herbs could help us in a different way.
Wow, that is so great. You're making quite the little legacy for little Miss Citrine, and she is a spitfire. So, that is super fun to bring that family element, and the love that you have for your family into your business. That's so cute.
Yeah. And then if you look at our logo, there's also three sunflowers on it. And sunflowers are my favorite plant. And whenever sunflowers are um, cold or in darkness, they turn towards each other to keep each other warm. And so the three sunflowers on there is actually for um, Citrine, me, and my mom.
Aw, that's so cute. Yeah, that interesting fact about the sunflowers, that's something that I just found out recently. I didn't know that. I think that's super cool.
Yeah.
Um, but I have a fun fact about sunflowers. Um, they actually help pull toxins and poisons out of the soil. So if you have an area um, that is contaminated for whatever reason, you could plant sunflowers there and it will actually help pull that out and help heal the soil. So, like in a few years after doing sunflower patches, it would be safer to plant vegetables that you're going to consume.
That's really cool. I did not know that.
Yeah,
That's
see,
super cool.
plants do amazing things. You just have to learn and look for it.
Yeah. That's amazing. Like, I wonder what they could do with that for like oil spill cleanups and stuff.
I don't know, but I do know that they have been taking um, fibers like coconut fibers and hair,
Mhm.
and they similar to how I made my dreads,
Mhm.
they take the hair and they needle it together, and they're using that to soak up oil spills.
I've seen that, and you can mail in your haircuts, and they
Y
make them into
Yeah,
these
and they,
mats.
like, make a mat, and they, like, float it on top of the water, and it sucks up all the stuff that is contaminating that's floating on top.
Yeah, that's super cool. That's super neat. Okay, so we got 5 minutes left.
We got 5 minutes. Okay, so, you did mention a lot of items that you have started making as regular products from Citrine Enlightenment. So what is one that your family uses the most on a daily day basis?
Oh, man. Um, well, there's a lot of things that I do for my family that I don't have out in the world yet. Um, on a day-to-day basis, I wanna say it's always gonna be tea, so
Tea. That's that's my favorite. I'm partaking. Oh, look at got a cute llama. Um, I'm partaking in some tea now. I don't think this is one of our signature blends. I think it was just pinched together. But I do have to say, one of the things I love about our teas is that most of them are nettle based.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even in this one, put a big pinch of nettle and then added a few other things that were sitting on the counter in there.
Yeah, and I think the nettle base is really kind of an important part to what makes our teas so unique because nettle's an amazing herb to have. It helps so much with your body, and putting it with the other herbs, you can't really taste it, in all honesty.
Yeah, and I've started so before you started Citrine Enlightenment and started sharing your knowledge with me about the herbs, I didn't realize you're not supposed to put sugar in your tea, that it affects the other herbs and elements that you put in your tea. So I loved that you could add just a couple flowers of chamomile to your tea or another sweet flower,
Mhm.
and it sweetens it enough that you don't even have to have any other. Um, there are benefits to adding tea to your honey, especially if it's from a local farmer. Um, but I've even gotten away from doing that just because now that I know a little bit more about the herbs and like what they bring when you put them in tea, I could drink it without any sugar now.
Yeah, sugar is there's a lot of scientific studies coming out that sugar is extremely toxic to your body. So any little bit that you can cut out is so much better for your health.
Yeah. So, um, quick, I have one other question for you. I noticed that you talked about tinctures.
Mhm.
So, from can you share with our audience what a tincture is? They might not quite understand the what it is.
Yeah, so a tincture is just a super concentrated version of basically a cup of tea. So what we do is we take the herbs and we soak it down in apple cider vinegar, and in one dropper full of tincture is equivalent to a whole cup of tea of that same herb. So if you aren't the best at drinking tea, or you just need to hurry up and take it real quick before you go to work, the tincture is going to be the option for you.
Yeah, and I think I have, like, 6 or 7 tinctures that I not necessarily take every day, um, but have a few of them that are daily takers, and it is so great. You could even if you're going out of town or traveling, you could just take your little bottle and just throw it in your purse or your bag and take it with you and not have to worry about taking this big bag of tea with you to take your tea.
Yeah, and you could literally drip it in a cup of coffee, put it under your tongue, put it on a salad. There's so many different ways you could use a tincture. And you don't have to carry around a teapot or in a cup and have to worry about heating water up. It's literally just right there ready for you.
Yeah, it's amazing concoction. So I also just wanted to touch base on something else. So one thing that is unique with the Citrine Enlightenment tinctures is that we do make ours with apple cider vinegar. I do know a lot of people do theirs with alcohol. Can you shed a little light on why you chose the apple cider vinegar versus the alcohol route?
Yeah. So again, alcohol is technically poison for your body. I know it's been used for a long time and it's well accepted nowadays, but it's still going to kill your liver eventually. So I wanted to find a healthier option than using alcohol, and we landed on apple cider vinegar. And apple cider vinegar has a lot of health benefits in itself. It helps with your stomach acid and so many other things. So we just figured it was the perfect match.
Yeah, and I love that. And we'll share more on this because we make our own apple cider vinegar. So maybe we can share that one day when we talk just about our tinctures.
Remember, we do not treat, cure, or diagnose any illness. So if you have any questions about anything we talked about today, please reach out to your provider.
So we are always so honored and blessed that you spent your time with us. And we can't wait to visit with you next time. So please come back and visit us. But until then, go forth with love and intention.